Hold on to your butts, and welcome to another episode of Bringing Down the Grindhouse, a podcast where we discuss horror in media. I'm Mitch.
I'm Mert.
And I'm Jonathan.
And today we're going to be discussing Jurassic Park and the Valley of Gwangi.
Yeah.
I think we should start with the Valley of Gwangi, just because it's older. It's like the original idea, I think, for what these movies were sort of like based on. Mm-hmm. At the very least, maybe what the book was based on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I know that Jurassic Park had a book,
yeah,
and whatnot. So that's what this movie's based on.
Yeah,
written by Michael Crichton.
Yeah, apparently it was a pretty good adaptation of what was in there.
It's a good one. I'd say there's a couple of things that were left out, obviously, because that's what happens with adaptations,
with movies.
But everything that happened that was supposed to happen is in the following movies.
Right. So this is the first time I've ever seen the Valley of Gwangi.
Same.
Like literally like an hour ago I finished watching it, and I don't know why I've never heard of it.
It's one of those cult cowboy movies.
I didn't know what to expect watching it, but I gotta say the stop motion animation in this is still pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's
for
good.
It being from '69. Like,
I think the scene that like really did it for me was when the little kid was getting picked up by the fucking pterodon.
Right. So was that just like two stop motion animation things that they were moving?
I think what it was is they had a kid like getting picked up by a fucking crane. And then I'm not even joking, but then
like the most unsafe workspace.
Yeah. And I believe after that it was I was looking into it. It's just claymation with a little kid as a fucking claymation doll.
Oh, I thought so. Okay, yeah. Once he's like really high up, I was pretty sure it was like a little clay doll. But at one point, yeah, you could tell that there was like this harness that was designed to look like the pterodactyl's feet just holding him, and that was pretty funny. But let's go all the way back to the beginning. So what is the story even about? Because it's really not that complex. Like, it's pretty simple.
No, it basically comes down to these people capture a tiny horse.
Yeah, it's
well, he doesn't find out about the horse until a little bit into the...
Yeah, but in the beginning they have the tiny horse in a bag.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. The Valley of Gwangi is
apparently
just
this guy is like running out of the valley, and then they're like, "Oh, what's this?" Because there's this weird horse noise coming from inside this tiny baggie, and then you kind of just don't know what's inside, at least until later in the film. But it was still it was funny. There was moments where I was like, "This is really funny," but it also had that like 50s, 60s like really cheesy lines.
It also had that like 50s, 60s mystical woman that knows too much and tries to warn people
all of the time, and it's always supposed to be a quote unquote woman of color. In this case, it's a white lady dressed in like brown face.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like she's hella painted. Like
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, there's
then again, I watched it on an iPhone.
Oh wow, just on your phone, like No, yeah, I was looking at all the peoples, and there's quite a lot of people in there that were just like painted brown.
Oh no!
I mean, that's what they did in those studios because they didn't want to hire anybody for these kinds of things. The only ones that I think are like officially like people who were probably Spaniard or Mexican was like the flamenco dancer and whoever was playing the music at one point. But other than that, and maybe Carlos, but he seemed kind of white.
Richard Carlson is our main actor.
Yeah,
playing I forget his name.
Tuck.
Kirby.
No.
His last name's Kirby.
I thought Kirby was the professor. We'll
Hmm.
figure it out.
Yeah,
But Tuck is the main character, and what else is he in?
We talked about Richard Carlson a little bit when we did our episode on the Creature of the Black Lagoon. He plays David, the main character in that as well. So a thing about the 50s and 60s cowboy reels, I saw a very extensive video about the cowboy reel not too long ago, and it was discussing that America was just used to cowboy movies being your white hero saving a pack of people of color, and your villains are very black and white. Your good guys always wear white. Your bad guys always wear black. Oh, look, he's racist. He kills people. He's the bad guy.
I was saying the same exact thing to Justine while we were watching it. I was like, why do they put every Hispanic person or person of color in these films? They're always in black.
Yeah, it's to show off. Like,
and
they're bad people.
Yeah, really simple like color. What's the word? Symbology to be like, yeah, evil versus good. But although he wasn't like the nicest dude. He was like money hungry basically the whole movie.
He was very money hungry. But
capitalist as fuck.
You were right though. It's Tuck Kirby.
Yeah. So the thing about the cowboy reel was America was getting TVs in the 50s. So they were just like, okay, we're going to make cowboy movies, but these are going to be watched with kids and everyone around the TV.
Right.
So we have to make these very
appealing,
not that violent, very nice, can't have too many cigarettes, can't have too much alcohol and all that crazy crap. Try to dumb it down and make it somewhat family friendly, not a lot of blood and all that.
I don't think anyone was smoking in this movie.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
No, I think about it, which is odd because this is the time when everyone was smoking in these films.
Yeah,
and it's like, and it carried on into like the 80s when you'd have smoking in space and shit, like Alien. And they just like they have like a throwaway line for why they can do that. They're like, thank God for having this thing that lets us smoke in space, and then like they never mention it again. But I mean, this movie did well. It like has like a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it like, I feel like it made some of its money back. So it was like pretty popular at the time.
It's one of those cult movie things. And like I was saying with the cowboy reel, it was this movie and Blazing Saddles. Everyone has to talk about Blazing Saddles when they bring up the shift in tone with cowboy movies. A lot of people say that Blazing Saddles killed the cowboy movie because it's just parodying it to its like dumbest degree.
I mean, I don't know what they were expecting. It's Gene Wilder, isn't it?
Yeah,
so it's like he wasn't gonna take that super serious.
Yeah, but the thing is with that and the Valley of Gwangi, you know, you have you're fucking you're bad guys and you're fucking you're evil people of color, and this is just like, nah, fuck you. These guys are going against dinosaurs.
Right. This movie reminds me of like when kids play with all of their toys together. And it's like, yeah, I've got cowboys, I've got Indians, I've got fucking dinosaurs. I have
spaceships.
I've got like weird spaceship things. Like just all of it comes together for this weird film where they're like fighting against these dinosaurs. And like they pretty much like win. Like they don't really have too many losses except for fucking Carlos, the only guy who dies, the guy who like bare hand wrestles like a bull and then takes down a pterodactyl. You're like,
so hard, he like fucking snaps its neck.
Yeah, he just fucking snaps its neck, and I was like, whoa, what the fuck?
It's like, whoa.
One of the funniest scenes is in the beginning when that guy Tuck goes back. And the bull like almost runs him over, and then fucking Carlos just runs out of nowhere and like manhandles that thing, and then she runs to fucking Tuck, who's on the ground, like, oh my God, are you okay? I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is the weakest white man I've ever seen on film. Like, this is bullshit. I was like upset watching it. It was really funny.
It should be said though that Valley of Gwangi, the special effects and stop motion were made by Ray Harryhausen, the legend himself.
Oh shit.
Behind many great films such as well, he worked on The Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, and if you don't know that one, it is the precursor to Godzilla.
Yeah.
Earth vs. Flying Saucers, 20 Million Miles to Earth is pretty great. The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad is another one he's known for. And my personal two favorites, Jason and the Argonauts and Clash of the Titans. Those were some powerhouse moves for himself.
I mean, he's behind all the stop animation.
Yeah, for all the creatures, the Hydra, the fucking one-eyed Cyclops, the giant skeleton fight at the end of Jason and the Argonauts, like the fucking Kraken, Medusa, and the dire wolves. He does all the stop motion with that with claymation, and like he does it.
He's
in
really
such a
fucking
good way.
Like for it being as old as it is, what, the 60s? How old is this now? 60 years?
This is 69 when this movie came out, but he's been working since the 50s.
Yeah. Oh my God. So like,
let me see. Like 20,000 Fathoms was the first thing that he did visual effects for. That was in 53.
Oh my God. Yeah. So I mean, it's totally enjoyable. Like it's for what it is. It's really fun to watch through. You get like weird 50s, 60s acting where like at some points I think they were just mouthing their lines because they recorded the audio separate.
Yeah.
And then at other points it's like the noise just didn't make sense. It was like like the dinosaur sounded like dudes just screaming into like a can.
I think the best part is when like he goes to talk to the girl in her like changing room.
Yeah.
And it's so obviously badly dubbed with like some girl that she's trying to have a Spanish accent, but it's doing a horrible job.
Yeah, I didn't really understand what they were doing there because I couldn't tell if they were trying to give her an accent or if they just wanted clear audio. And so they're like, just mouth your lines and we'll record it later.
Well, the guy is actually speaking. He's not dubbed over. Just the woman is.
Okay, so it was just her. I noticed it too because it's so odd because you're like, this doesn't match what you're saying. Like, at all.
So let's talk about the horse and let's talk about how this movie gets going. And
right.
everything.
So we've already talked about how a guy like escapes and they find this little horse, and then you get introduced to like this circus, or I don't know
it's
what to
a
call
rodeo.
It's like a rodeo Wild West show.
Yeah.
And they have people dressed up as cowboys and other people as like Native Americans or Indians, as they'll call them in some of the other scenes. And then they kind of just showcase them like going around the country. They say it's in the Rio Grande, right?
Yeah, it's in the Rio Grande, but it's obviously Mexico.
Right. It's supposed to be, but like my only gripe with it was that most of the stuff in there looks like it's from Spain. I mean, they even have a flamenco dance, which is Spaniard. Like, they don't do flamenco in Mexico.
I was wondering if the cathedral at the end of the movie was a real thing.
That I was wondering about that too. It looked like a very elaborate set.
It looked like a giant cathedral, and I was like, dude, I kind of want to see what that looks like in person.
What if it's just a miniature?
It probably is because it crumbles by the end of the movie.
Superimposed in front of them.
I mean, when the cathedral's burning down at the end, it's
totally.
super awkward looking because it's just like it looks like they just have a flame like set up behind it.
Poor dinosaur got roasted.
Yeah, poor Gwangi. So, I mean, they bring the horse. You introduce to the rodeo.
Right.
You find out that they're going to use the small horse to be doing acrobatic things on top of a horse. So, they're trying to pitch like a new show.
There's a few things before. Tuck shows up he shows up after having left the main girl character. I forget her name. What is the main female lead?
A lot of these characters are very forgettable to me.
I didn't have their names until the very end when they showed like their names and them like walking across.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, but so anyway, he shows up and is like, "Hey, I came over here to like buy your horse because there's a good seller for the horse." And she's like, "No deal. I'm not going to sell this horse to you."
Yes. So it's Gila Golan as TJ.
TJ. Oh, that's right. Her fucking name is TJ. So yeah, so Tuck shows up to TJ, which apparently they were together at some point, and he does have a wedding ring on, which is kind of weird. So I'm like, is that your like? Did you guys get married, or is he married to someone else?
Oh,
and
my
had, like,
bad.
A love affair.
James Franciscus is Tuck, and Richard Carlson is Champ.
Champ is the older dude, right?
I think so.
Yeah, the one who's like her boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I thought so. And then she doesn't want to make a deal with him, so he just leaves and is like, all right, well, then we're not going to do that. But then comes back after that, after like one of the shows to figure out, which is pretty funny because she jumps from like the top of a platform into like, I don't know, a big bucket of water with the horse. And when it drops down, you can tell it's just somebody shoving like a claymation thing off of a miniature into water, and then it cuts back to her like in the water. It was really funny. Yeah, with the horse. It was really funny. And so that's what, like, he's trying to convince her to sell the horse so that they can both get money and they can like stop traveling around.
Yeah, he wants to settle down in like Midwest America,
Wyoming or something like that.
Yeah, just some dumb fucking cowboy place.
They're so weird. They keep breaking up and then making up like 5 minutes later. Over greed. Yeah, over greed, and then like, well, yeah. At first, it seems like he's the greedy one, and then she was like, "No, we gotta like take this show on the road." And he's like, "But I thought we were gonna settle down in Wyoming." And she was like, "What the fuck? I'm about to make this money."
My favorite character in this is Lope,
the little kid, right?
Yeah. He's pretty fucking cool.
He reminds me of the kid from Indiana Jones, who's just like really smart at everything he does and like has been helping him for a while. And he's helping the professor there. And he's like, "Oh yeah, that's one of my clients." And I'm like, "That's hilarious." Because he's been helping him so long now. He's like, yeah. I always take money from this guy. So it was just like, he was even hustling the guy at the beginning where he's just like, "Oh, hey, like, you know, you need help, you need anything like that?" And he was like, "Well, no." And then he's like, "All right, where's the stadium?" He's like, "Well, if the price is right, I'll tell you."
Well, he's like, "You're going to need a horse." And, well, I could sell you a horse, or I could sell you a guide. I don't need a guide, I don't need a horse. oh, where's the stadium? It's 2 miles out. You're going to need a horse and a guide.
Yeah. Gets him, and he's just like, yeah, that's going to be 10 pesos for the horse. And he's like, and 5 for the saddle on top of whatever you're paying.
And then he's like, you know what? I'll help you out, buddy. And he's like, my favorite part is when he looks at Lope. He's like, you know what they say, Lope? The first million's always the hardest.
There's a lot of weird lines in there like that, and it's pretty funny.
So the circus is going on. They do the horse thing, and then
you're really gonna have to.
The gypsy woman, quote unquote, is like really suspicious of Gwangi, just like the Valley of Gwangi. If you take from it, curses will happen upon the people
you're not
that
supposed
are
to take
around you.
anything out of there. She's very reminiscent of most of those blind seer characters that you see in like so many other things.
You get like big like King Kong vibes from this as well.
Yeah.
Don't take from the secret valley the big monster from it or anything like that, because then bad things happen and whatnot.
So then they successfully snatch the horse, and they're going to go take it back to the Valley of Gwangi, the minorities of the group, by the way. And
yeah,
so
it's
a big
all
chase to get...
all the people who are with that lady.
Yeah.
Who are like, all right, yeah, we got to go. But the professor kind of put them up to it.
Yeah, the professor, I think, wants to study it.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's mainly wanting to just study it and not, like, showcase it around. But he does want the, like, scholarly community to respect him. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to get, like, knighted for this. And he's trying to get the little horse back, or he's trying to get them to take it back so he can follow them to the valley and figure out where, like, possibly there might be more. But the thing is that there's mainly just dinosaurs, not more little mini
Which
horses.
is pretty fucking awesome when it hits.
I'm pretty sure they straight up copied a scene for this for Jurassic Park when the T-Rex shows up and like bites that dinosaur. Like you see it like kind of there's like an overhang, and then like they're running away, and then the T-Rex shows up and grabs I don't know what it is, a stegosaurus.
Wait, is it like the one on 2 legs? Or is it like a...
No,
it's almost like a triceratops, but it's more spines.
Like, I'm pretty sure they copied that exact scene for Jurassic Park when it, like, pops out of fucking nowhere and grabs it.
Oh, yeah, near the end with the raptor.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and then the T-Rex shows up, and he's supposed to be, like, the king of the dinosaur universe.
He's the fucking star.
I mean, he eventually... That same T-Rex in Jurassic Park, or at least one of them that's very similar, fights... that crazy new dinosaur in like the 3rd movie in Jurassic World.
No, that's not the same one.
Oh no, not that one. I'm talking about like from this original first movie.
Yeah.
This is the dinosaur. This is the T-Rex that shows up in Jurassic World to fight the new dinosaur and succeeds.
Yeah. Fucking kills it.
Yeah, hard. And it's I can't remember her name, the redhead girl who is like the main person.
Her name's Claire.
In Jurassic World?
Yeah, her name's Claire, and she's played by Ron Howard's daughter.
Yes.
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yeah, and so she's the one who releases the T-Rex and is like running away with a flare in her hand to like lead him out.
In fucking heels.
Yeah, in like high heels. It's ridiculous. That movie was sick. We should talk about that some other time. But I'm pretty sure they copied that scene. And
makes sense.
And then they were like, because it had to be some sort of like paying tribute to something like that. And there's so many similarities in these movies, like them wanting to control like this giant creature, which you see in like Jurassic Park and King Kong. Like they fucking drag them back in chains all the way back to wherever they are and try to showcase it. And of course, on the first show out, they fucking break loose and then just go rampaging everywhere. Even when they did it in Jurassic Park with the 2nd movie, where they bring them, I think they actually said they were bringing them to San Diego.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Yeah, they're like running through the streets, like it was legit. All right, yeah, no,
and that's the thing. The thing is, Jurassic World, what is the movie called? The Lost World.
The Lost World was the second one.
That was the one that had that. But the thing is, the second Jurassic World movie, opens up to leave it to not interpretation, but the next movie after this, it's gonna be a world overrun by dinosaurs.
Right, yeah, because it keeps happening again.
Like, no, they are out in the fucking public.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they get off the island.
Yeah, they get off the island, and the little girl lets them out of the mansion in that movie.
Not to mention there's that giant, like, sea creature. Like, there's multiples.
The Mosasaurus.
That's fucking huge.
Yeah, it's like gulping up surfers in that one shot.
Yeah, so I was like, oh my god, okay.
All right, but back to Gwangi. We could go on about Jurassic
Park is awesome. It has so many funny scenes in it. And, like, even Mitch just said a line from it right at the beginning where Samuel Jackson's like, hold on to your butts.
Hold on to your butts.
And it's funny because he's smoking too. So it's just like, they're always smoking in that scene. And he has like a big ashtray full of it. Yeah.
He also says that same line in Kong Skull Island.
He does, huh?
Yeah. I was just like, oh, I see what you did there.
Yeah.
You're not clever.
It's because he plays himself in everything he's in with only a slight modification.
Nick Fury is really just
man, Nick Fury was badass in fucking Kong.
But it's basically an Avengers fucking lineup. You got Captain Marvel and Loki as well in that movie. As well as the agent from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in that movie too.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
the guy who plays Loki is in that?
Tom Hiddleston?
Yeah,
he's in that movie.
Who the fuck does he play in that movie?
He plays the main guy, like the main white hero that fucking grabs the sword and kills all those. Lizards.
That's right. Maybe I was just mixing him up with what's that guy's name? Adrian Brody. I kept mixing him up with him.
I don't even think he's in that movie.
No, he's not. It's just, they look the same. They're like a white dude with black hair. What do you want from me? Anyway, I digress and move back to the plot of. What is it? The Valley of Gwangi.
I don't know. I don't really have too much to say about this one. There wasn't enough for me to really analyze or dig into
it. It was very simple, yeah.
Yeah, really simple, and I don't know if that was really a strong point for this film.
No.
Because you're gonna watch it for the dinosaur fights, and you're gonna watch it for
which
that
are pretty
aspect.
legit. Like,
yeah, they're good
ones.
ones.
It's a long fight between them.
You get a couple.
Yeah.
You get a good amount.
There's Styracosaurus is that the Tyrannosaurus, not Tyrannosaurus. The Styracosaurus is the spiny Triceratops looking thing.
Yeah. Well, was that supposed to be a T-Rex?
Nope.
It's something else,
Allosaurus.
Right? Allosaurus.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's like a smaller-ish version, right?
The thing is, it has its fucking arms.
Yeah.
And it is a slightly smaller.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like it was probably like 10, 12 feet.
Yeah. They're able to wrap it with ropes for a good amount of time.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny though, because it's just like a scene where cowboys are just roping in a fucking dinosaur.
Yeah,
and they did it, like they figured it out, and I was like, man, this reminds me of watching the Jurassic Park movie when they show up on the island and start roping shit up.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, oh wow, all right, yeah, it's the same concept.
What is it? They got that scene done by actually having a pole in the middle,
nice.
And then Harryhausen just fucking molded over it.
With
footage.
Damn.
So like they made the pole. I don't know how they did it, but they made it so it was edited so the pole was not there. But all the lassoing is on a pole in real life.
I figured, they were pretty good at acting like there was shit actually there. Like I was never a moment where I was like, this looks ridiculous. But like they were really responding and they were committing to those falls. Like that dude looked like he hit his head on the rocks when that horse rolled over him. I was like, fuck. I was like, that guy looks like he actually got hurt.
The horse like fell on him too.
Yeah, that's why I was
mid-second.
like, yo. I was like, that guy probably got hurt doing that scene.
We got the Triceratops looking thing fighting the Allosaurus. We got the Allosaurus fighting an elephant in the Colosseum.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
like a good couple seconds.
And like they were actually like hurting each other. It wasn't like he was just eating the elephant. Like that thing was actually fighting back.
Yeah, there's a lot of, surprisingly for this being a family-friendly movie, quote unquote, there's a lot of blood and whatnot from the two dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're like
a decent amount for the time period anyway.
One of the funnier parts was when they're like shooting the rifles at the dinosaurs and nothing is happening. And then they get to the fucking cave where they're hiding out. They're like, dude, they're blanks. Why did you put blanks in these rifles? And he's like, well, I'm not supposed to like know we're going to run into some dinosaurs during the middle of our circus show. Like, what do you want from me?
It's a circus show, my God.
Yeah. They're still popping them off at the dinosaurs.
Yeah, and they kept shooting them and they were all blanks. So it was pretty funny because they never had a chance to actually shoot a dinosaur.
Then they have to go back to the primitive past too, and the guys are absolutely heated with each other, trying to fight each other over.
Yo, that was great. He was like, "Yo, you're a fucking horse thief," and he's like, "What?" Blam, and just fucking punches him immediately.
Yeah, right. Like, how dare you suggest such things?
He did not hesitate to punch that guy in the face. I was like, "Yo, this is it. This is how you do it." He was like, "What the fuck did you say?" And just went, bah! And took that fucking guy down.
They bring out the spears, and it's really fun. It's just
it was definitely a fun movie. It's fun. I bet it's fun to watch with kids. Like they probably freak out and watch something like that.
With the 50s and like 60s and 70s, somewhat, you have a lot of dinosaur movies.
This would fit so well. Like if you made a movie now where it was set in whatever time period, you could put this on the TV on there. But you could totally just play this movie on the background of something.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Like, just leave it on the TV, like one of the old school TVs.
Oh, yeah. Here, it's how I describe this movie. It's one of those Saturday matinees.
Screaming dinosaurs.
Yeah. Just like... if I were a filmmaker, I'd put this movie on in the background.
Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to keep this in the back of my head until I make something and just do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure I could just, I don't know, I may need permission from Warner Bros. To do that. But
it's just one of those cult movies
old.
where it's just like, hey, there's that one dinosaur cowboy movie.
Or you could just make something weird like they did in Mandy and made the like goblin shit. With the macaroni. Remember that?
Yeah, Cheddar Goblin.
The fucking Cheddar Goblins just throwing macaroni on these kids while they're flipping out at the table. Just like, yes, throw the fucking macaroni on me.
70% more cheese and shit.
That was fucking weird.
But all I gotta say is it's good stop motion. You're not gonna find anything great.
It's short too. It's like an hour and a half.
You're not gonna find anything great plot wise. It's short and sweet and gets to the point. It takes a good minute for dinosaurs to come in.
Yeah, about halfway.
Halfway. But when it reaches that halfway point, the shit goes down. There's a lot of fucking fighting. There's a lot of running. There's a lot of stuff going on.
You're going to watch this for the novelty factor, for the stop animation dinosaurs, for the fact that there's cowboys versus dinosaurs. And it's a very like classic, like old school kind of American sort of deal with the cowboys and everything. So, but it's I was a little underwhelmed, to be honest. But there's some funny parts in it, though.
I definitely recommend watching more Ray Harryhausen films, though.
Yeah.
Beast from 20,000
Oh,
Fathoms.
yeah, gotcha.
That one is perfect for anyone that likes
Clash
giant
of the
monsters.
Titans is great.
Clash of the Titans.
That's a fucking awesome movie.
Jason and the Argonauts have my heart as like my childhood movies.
Yeah, they used to play those on TV all the time.
I had a double pack for DVD. I would just watch that shit all day long.
There was a specific channel that used to play movies like that sometimes.
Ooh.
And I remember watching it because my grandpa used to watch it at his house. And so he would turn it on and it'd be on the TV when I was really young. And this is definitely the time when like you could just sit in front of the TV and your parents weren't going to bother you much. And then you got a little older and they were like, don't fucking sit so close to the TV. And then look, I ended up with glasses anyway, but whatever. But it's just one of those movies that ended up being really interesting because they were able to like go well beyond whatever genre they were trying to represent and just combines dinosaurs and westerns and everything people like to make this movie. And I'm sure it was popular for anyone who watched it. Like parents and their kids sitting down to watch it, I'm sure enjoyed it. And this is also sort of the end of like when there was like monsters and creatures in movies and stuff. They're moving towards something else in film.
They're moving towards people.
Yeah, they wanted like stories about people, drama, things like that. So no one was really into the monsters and the westerns. All the creature features happened already, and then you would get a resurgence of it in the 80s.
Yeah, and parodying will always be a thing.
Yeah, totally.
As well as what is it? When you add more darkness to a tone, just more.
Oh yeah, it's more serious.
Yeah,
and
they
tried.
Jeez, forgot what serious was for a second.
Well, they did. Yeah, they make it a little bit darker. Jurassic Park definitely gets into the point of like they're really like the dinosaurs are dangerous.
Exactly, that's the
thing.
And
like people will be killed and like ripped in half and shit. Like it's a lot of stuff that'll happen.
Yeah,
I didn't realize how violent Jurassic Park was until I watched it like again recently. I was like, oh, people actually get like hella eaten in this movie.
We should probably just start talking about that.
Well, yeah. So definitely go watch this movie because it's worth it and it's pretty funny. Regardless, hour and a half. Maybe go drink and
it's
get
like
high
an hour
or something.
15.
Yeah, something
or
like that.
If you can't do that, just start at the halfway point.
Yeah, start at like 40 minutes in, and this is where the dinosaurs show up. You won't have missed much in the beginning there. Also, there is some points where you're gonna have to be like, oh, this movie's kind of racist, but it's like
time period.
But it's like it was made in the late 60s, and they were not doing well with all of the segregation and racial.
You can't expect progressive ideals in older movies all the time.
You watch movies from like the early 40s up until like even the mid 80s, and a lot of it's going to be racist. But prior to that and then after that is when things got a lot better, which is weird because like prior to the 40s, there was like all of the early 1900s, all of the directors were women, and they were really good. Like, there was, like, crazy amount of film that were really good for that time period. Like, I think the movie Queen Christina came out during that time, which is, like, one of the most progressive movies I think I've ever seen. And it's, like, in black and white.
Is that the one that you're telling us where they're just like, I saw the queen with 12 men?
Yeah. It's like, I heard the queen slept with 12 men. And then some other dude's like, 13 men. And then they all cheers and say, long live the queen. So it's like, they didn't give a fuck. They were like, yeah, that's fucking awesome. So that was a really good movie. They had a whole bunch during that time period. So go, if you've never looked into older movies, go check out all of the earlier films, like pre-30s, because this is before they had all those rules where like you can't have like smoking, you can't have sex, you can't have booze, like all these rules that they came up with because people were getting really Christian and Catholic in the United States. So they put all these rules and regulations on the film. It was really lame, but that's a whole different thing to happen during film. And so Jurassic Park to me has always been kind of one of those films where everyone's watched it.
Yep.
And you've always watched it probably when you were a kid. Like, that's probably the first time you saw it, whether it was on TV or you went to the theater and saw it.
Yeah. The theme song is heavily engraved.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
You also can't forget the cast, like Jeff Goldblum.
No, all of them.
Like,
every single one of them in there.
All the people in it were really memorable for their roles in the film. And it's just like, it's such a good collaboration from so many people to make that movie. And then it was like Spielberg before I feel like he was starting to get to the point where he was kind of a dick. But
yeah, I mean, but you have to like Spielberg has clout.
Yeah.
He's got serious clout. He knows how to make good movies. So
yeah, this is well into his blockbuster career.
Yeah,
he's made some fucking hits.
By this point, he was like, he was writing off of like 4 other movies I think he had made that were like just blockbuster hits.
Jaws, E.T., everything in between. And I'm pretty sure he slept with everyone's mom in this room.
Yeah, my mom can confirm.
I'm just messing. Oh God, the dude just has a cloud of clout.
Just has fucking children everywhere. Like that's his plan all along. He's gonna get all these children to help him make film.
I'm sure your moms are wonderful people. I'm just messing.
Wait, so how did you guys watch it?
Would my mom be bad if she had slept with Spielberg? Is that what you're trying to imply here?
I don't want to talk about this anymore. Just talk about his clout.
Oh,
he's got clout, yeah.
Yes.
So
wait, does he actually write some films or does he just direct?
I feel like he just directs. I'm sure he has like some writing credits somewhere. But a lot of the time,
he has a ton of executive producer.
Yeah,
and
I don't know
credits.
if he's ever like written a whole bunch of stuff. I think he really just been the director and like the sort of guide for the rest of the film.
He was doing that one. It's not a good movie, but that AI movie that Kubrick was trying to make.
Oh, that's right.
He had to like try to grab hold of that and try to finish it for Kubrick because it was his friend, you know.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess it's just because everyone sort of knew Kubrick as like a really hard person to work with because he always wanted things such a specific way.
Interesting stuff about Jurassic Park is that Michael Crichton actually helped write the screenplay for it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, along with David Cope.
It's probably why it like translated well.
You've also got the classic composer John Williams who did the music. Let's see.
Basically, the guy who did all of Star Wars.
The budget for it, however, is the gnarly bit because it was $63 million. It clocked in on box office at $1.30 billion. Like they fucking made bank off of this film.
Spielberg probably could have quit making movies after that.
Yep,
because he made so much money from that one film. That's ridiculous.
I have not read. You can compare Jurassic Park to the book a lot because there's some themes that are discussed in it and whatnot, such as like the idea of chaos theory.
Yep.
The idea of, should we play God or not?
Yeah, and they talk about it in the movie as well.
Yeah,
like
multiple
they have
times.
Several scenes about it.
Good little tidbits of philosophy and whatnot.
I've read the book, and I gotta say, there's something in Gwangi that actually comes up in Jurassic Park the book.
Oh, what is it?
So the first thing that Dr. Hammond makes is a pygmy elephant.
Oh.
It's an elephant the size of a pug. And they're just like, oh my God, this is the best thing ever. We need to market this, sell it, and get it going. And they're like, yeah, the only problem is it only lives up to be like 3 weeks old.
Oh, and then
it just dies.
Oh.
So, but it's adorable
Shitty.
while you have it. And that was the thing. There was like the tiny horse in Gwangi. So like.
Right. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So they started with that, but then they're getting into genetics. And then they're like, hey, we could just tap into amber and get fucking dino DNA.
I love that explanation where like they're like on a little ride going around and it starts explaining to them how they get the blood from the mosquito and then they fill in the little gaps in the DNA.
It honestly makes sense.
Well, apparently this is like they're pretty accurate. Like they weren't too far off when they were explaining all of the science for the movie, which is kind of funny because it's like it's meant to be very sci-fi thriller and it was pretty scientific at some points. And the fucking animatronics still make it like worth watching so much later because it looks real.
I mean, some of it's CGI too, if I'm not mistaken.
The giant dinosaur CGI, like when he comes in, that's CGI and it fucking holds up.
But it holds up really well.
Yeah, it's kind of weird to watch it so many years later and be like, man, this still looks really fucking good for such an old film.
Gallimimus have not aged as well. The ones that run.
Oh,
like, in the valley, not as much.
It just looks somewhat awkward to see the creature running, but then you get a much more serious scene in Jurassic Park where it's chasing the Jeep. Then you're like, oh fuck, like this thing can go like 60 miles an hour.
I enjoyed Jurassic Park a lot though. It's a really good movie. It builds up really well because it opens up with the
most horrific scene in the movie.
Yeah,
probably.
Really though. Yeah, where they're trying to transfer the raptors into the cage, the velociraptors.
That's right.
That's where it opens, and then like it's the shooter.
A very famous line.
Yeah, it's pretty great because like gatekeeper, you got one guy going up there, and everyone's just like, oh fuck, it's this guy's turn to do his job.
Yeah,
opens the gate, and the thing hits it. And the dude falls on the ground.
Just enough space.
And it just gets fucking pulled around the corner while you hear these organic dinosaur sounds that they made
raptor
themselves.
Noises. Yeah.
And honestly, like they're
so
just gonna
specific.
They're gonna be ingrained into your head for your entire fucking life.
I don't think anybody else attempted to make any other noises like this for other films. The only thing I can think of that makes weird noises is like an Alien, when the xenomorphs make weird noises and like growl or click or whatever they do. Kind of like the Predator does in some movies.
Yeah, or like, you know, you got Godzilla's classic like roar also is another one.
Old like the loud ass roar. It's fucking great. It's like it's a good way to start. It like lets you know how dangerous everything is that they're doing and like definitely foreshadows a lot of people trying to cage these dinosaurs and not succeeding well. Like it's just the first scene. They're like, no, this is not going to work.
And then we get off to the lawyer discussing that the family of that person is going to be suing Dr. Hammond because the person died on the job.
Yeah.
And the guy, everyone kind of looks over this, but he says like, Dr. Hammond isn't here. He's helping his daughter with a divorce. And that's why his grandkids are at the fucking park.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to deal with the divorce. She has no time for fucking kids.
Yeah, I don't think they really explain a whole lot about this, but that's a big part of it.
That's a big thing that's looked over.
Yeah.
Like, that plot went nowhere. And like, if you're really paying attention, it adds up.
Yeah, exactly. And then he goes and finds the two main characters like at their dig site. Like they're like digging up
John
dinosaur
Hammond
bones.
Does.
Yeah.
He comes in on a fucking helicopter and is pretty much
fucks up their whole site.
Yeah, we're
we
missing
have to talk about
the greatest scene where the snobby ass shit faced kid decides that he's going to talk shit on the velociraptor.
Good. He's like, just looks like a giant bird to me.
Yeah, exactly.
What's so scary about a giant turkey?
And then he explains why like the claw is so dangerous.
This is the best part. So he's like, so you're looking with your peripheral vision at this velociraptor, and you think it moves like the T-Rex. If you don't move, he's not gonna see you. But what you don't realize is the two other raptors on the fucking side of you, that have been looking at you for the last 5 minutes, and that's when they get your fucking innards. And,
oh yeah, you're alive when this happens. You're alive when they eat you. Is basically what he gets at. And then the girl or his girlfriend, I guess, is just like, you're gonna be great with kids. Like
yeah, exactly. I don't want those.
After like scaring the shit out of this little kid, and he's funny. He's like this little short kid with curly hair. He's kind of tubby, so it's just like he just had to scare him, and it's cool because they're using like sonar to look into the ground.
Yeah,
they're like putting these explosive charges into the ground, and then it'll show like a map of the area, and they find like this entire skeleton for the raptor, and that's how they get into that conversation. And he actually has one of the raptor claws on him, so he puts it in his hand as he's explaining what it can do to him. And then they show the raptors later, and they do exactly that.
Yeah,
they like are hunting in a pack, and it's great because it's people in suits.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like people in suits running around chasing them.
It's like a blend of animatronics and CGI for the raptors, but they're super great. Like probably the raptors are one of the best parts of the movie too.
Yeah.
Easily. They're one of the most terrifying parts of it. Like
that and the smaller one that spits out that black stuff and just fucking ruins that guy's day.
Dilophosaurus.
Yeah, Dilophosaurus. That's probably one of my favorite scenes too.
It's so funny.
It's like acts so cute and innocent at first.
Yeah.
But it's also like really creepy because it's just kind of staring at him.
Yeah. Then it opens up whatever
it's like
on the side of his head.
Yeah, when the fucking side actors pull the strings, it's not as fun, huh?
Yeah.
So what happens after he talks to them? He's basically like, I need your help, right?
No, he's basically like, I just need you to come over here.
Oh, that's right, to approve the park.
To approve of the park. And they're like, well, we got a lot of work to do. I don't know about that.
Yeah.
We're going to fund your dig site.
For the next, 2 years.
The next 3 years.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, you should have said that.
Like, here's the thing about archaeology. You got to have funds to do your digs, and they are expensive as fuck. It's in the hopes that you could find specimens and could sell them to the highest bidder at a museum.
Well, it's such a great bit because they're digging up dinosaur bones, and he's going to show them live dinosaurs. So he knows how good this is going to be to have them there, but they don't realize what they're walking into at all. And just takes them over in a helicopter, very flashy. And that's when you find out that there's other people he's brought to the island as well.
We've spared no expense.
And then I think this is when they get into the helicopter and Jeff Goldblum is there.
Yep.
As what's his name?
There is
Dr.
a part
Malcolm.
there is a part I believe that happens just before that where you've got Dennis, the big hacker man.
That's right.
And they meet up at the little restaurant.
Yeah.
And then they talk about his plan to steal the embryos from the park,
which is funny because it's in the bottom of a Barbasol can, which has like shaving cream.
Yeah,
which I think he filled with like actual food, like whipped cream. And it's also a moment where he's like, oh, you can't say shit like that. And he's like, look, he's sitting here. See, nobody cares. He's like, nobody cares about you.
Look, it's Dodson, everybody. Yeah. It's Dodson.
That guy is funny.
Dodson had a bigger part in the second novel, from what I know. But
okay.
The thing is with this, this is where you kind of see a little bit about Dennis Nedry in a little subtle scene,
right?
Where he's just like, here's Dodson's paying him. Here's 50 mil or whatever. You'll get the other half after you collect every embryo.
Yeah.
12 embryos could fit in here. If they're dead, no money for you. And he's like, okay, I'll take care of it.
It's kind of crazy. The bottom opens up, and then you can put these little vials into it.
Mitch and I just saw a really subtle scene though with Dennis.
Oh yeah, where he's about to leave and his bill comes and he just stares at Dodson and is just like, "Don't cheap out on me, Dodson." Basically makes him pay his bill
after receiving that huge chunk of money.
There's so much stuff about Dennis that I never noticed watching the movie before because I don't think when I was younger that I fully understood what he was doing.
Right.
But you don't realize how trashy this guy is. Like when you see his desk in the movie, there's all this trash around the ground around it, and his desk is just filthy.
It looks like a World of Warcraft player's desk, just full of fucking sodas and cigarettes.
I like when he pops up on the screen where he's like, you didn't say the magic word.
Say the magic word.
And then he's like, please.
Please.
I hate this hacker bullshit.
Oh my God.
I love the 90s interpretation of hackers. It's so funny.
Yeah. Oh, when the little girl does it?
Yeah, when the little girl does
so
the
great because all
stuff.
she's doing is clicking. She's just clicking random shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Not even really hacking into anything. She's just found it, and it's moving so slow while she's going through all of the menus.
The best part is when you're doing fucking hacking or quote unquote hacking. If you were using a computer, you're using the mouse more than you're using the keys, most likely.
What
for hacking? Usually you're going to be coding, so you'll probably use the keyboards more often actually than the mouse. You'll be like tab, shift, enter.
Yeah,
that's
because you have to enter command prompts for most of the things that you're doing.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, she had no prior background of
you
any
could probably,
of this.
You could probably...
Well, no, they mention it. They mention it earlier on in the movie that her younger brother says to her, like, well, I'm out doing stuff. You're just in your room with your stupid computer all the time.
They set it up with, like, one line.
They set it up, earlier on
that's the thing
knows
with
computers.
This movie. A lot of stuff is just set up with one line.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's very subtle. They set up things very subtly, so it's kind of, you have to pay attention and you'll notice, like, where that came from.
Right. Now I think about it, there's a lot of stuff that happens in this movie. Like, it's just a whole bunch of stuff. And they talk about some really interesting stuff. I think one of the things we should mention is when Dr. Malcolm talks to the other two archaeologists. Are they doctors or are they like what's like their level of education?
Dr. Alan Grant.
Yeah, they're all doctors, right?
Yeah, they're all
so Dr. Malcolm talks to Dr. Grant about the chaos theory, about how like this, like what's gonna happen in this event. And then I mean obviously it's a moment for him to flirt with her because he gets to hold her hand, but it's like he shows her this like, oh, if I drop the drop of water here, like where's it gonna go? Like back over your hand or like off to the side.
Yeah, and then it goes off to the side, and that's his idea, is that not everything is determinable. Like everything in her hand, like the way that her skin is shaped and everything, like can influence, these tiny variables can influence the course of events, even if you expect them to go one way.
Right.
And it's a big foreshadowing of the events that happen within the park. So Dennis happens, they bring him there, and then that's when they do the Jeep scene, which is like one of the big money maker moments for Jurassic Park.
Oh,
because that's the first time we all see a fucking dinosaur like that on screen.
Right.
A CGI dinosaur.
Yes.
For many people, it was like you've never seen that before. In theaters and in the 90s, like that was.
Well, they also had like a giant animatronic head for the T-Rex, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They did. But I'm saying like the Brachiosaurus.
Gotcha. That's right.
That is the first time we've ever seen.
She's
a CGI
like freaking
dinosaur.
out over a plant that's supposed to have been extinct, and she's like, "Look at this! Look at the leaf!" And then he like grabs her head and turns it, and he's like, "Look!" And then they get out of the Jeep and freak out.
There's a fucking dinosaur right there.
Very cool moment.
Like,
yeah, like pulls off the sunglasses. That's great. Which is really funny because they were probably just staring at a green screen doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
And like just being like, you got to just freak out because it's a dinosaur. Like it's a dinosaur. You've never seen it. You're an archaeologist. Like this is the moment. And they both get out and realize what the fuck's going on. And then it like John Williams like amps up the music in this moment. You're supposed to get like really emotional about it.
The thing is, I wanted to talk about the pacing in this record because this is this movie, because it is a movie that is perfect with its pacing.
Yeah, holy shit.
It does everything well and everything has a purpose.
It also gives you like a breather after some action.
Yeah, it does. So like in that moment, he's just like, "How did you do this?" Well, let me show you.
Yeah, let me show you. And then takes him into the lab. It's fucking legit.
It's like it's just basic film to have good pacing.
Yeah. One of my favorites though is when the little raptor is born, and like it's a little animatronic coming out of the egg, and he's like helping it, like opening up the shell and everything. And then this is when they're like, "Wait, how do we know that they're like not breeding outside of this?" And they're like, "Oh, all the fucking dinosaurs in here are all female." And then fucking Dr. Malcolm's like, "Well, how do you know? Are you like checking under their skirts and shit? Like, what? How do you know for sure?" And then they explain all of the genetics that they're doing.
They explain that it's spliced with frog DNA. So,
well, this is a good moment too because Malcolm is like, "What? No, like life is gonna find a way. Like you guys can't just suppress something like this." And like really starts getting concerned about how they're doing things. And it's such a good like warning to everybody else watching the movie. Like this is not gonna go well.
Yeah. I mean, all of them basically like are amazed by it, but also in a way they're worried as well because it's a big deal.
And that's when Alan Grant, what species is this?
Right.
Velociraptor, just so calmly. Like,
and he's like, "Oh my god,
you bred velociraptors."
And then they go to the enclosure.
Oh god, and that's when they're introduced. Here, check out our main. Oh wait, no, they have a quick talk with the lawyer.
Well, yeah, they're at dinner.
And
Oh, right. This is when the owner of the park is like, "What the hell? You're all supposed to be on my side."
Yeah,
and, like,
exactly.
The only one
He's
on my side is the blood-sucking lawyer.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, because he's there assessing the park to make sure that it's safe, and he's immediately trying to market this place.
Yeah, he's like,
yeah. And then you have Hammond, which is interesting because if you've read the book or know a little bit about Hammond's character from the book, and he's a lot different in the movie. He's much more like, oh, this isn't a place that I only want for the like massively
super
wealthy,
rich elite.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, we'll have like a coupon day, like when the lawyer says that, which is just, oh my god, like,
well,
awful.
They're doing a great piece of commentary on all of the capitalism that was happening around
definitely.
the world. So they were like, yeah, this is exactly what would happen in this scenario.
Yeah,
they would find dinosaurs and want to market the shit out of them.
Yep.
Which is funny because they ended up marketing the hell out of Jurassic Park after the
movie
movie
absolutely
came out. Like I had like a little toy set that I would play with where like you could take apart like the dinosaur and like see the bones on the inside. It was so weird. It was a weird play set now I think about it. It was like, here, look at all the blood and guts on this dinosaur.
Yeah, exactly. So they have that entire scene where they're discussing it, and then that also gets into the life finds a way discussion in there, and then after that they go to see the eggs,
and then they go to the enclosure,
and then they go to the enclosure with the raptors in it.
This is where you meet that guy, the
Muldoon.
What's his name?
Muldoon.
Yeah,
that guy. I like that guy so much.
Oh yeah, Muldoon is awesome.
He's so ridiculous because all he wants to do is just hunt.
They should all be destroyed.
Well, in the I think it's the second one where he's just like, yeah, I want to hunt a fucking T-Rex because I want to. Don't ask me why. That's my payment. And then it's like that he spends his whole movie trying to hunt down a fucking T-Rex just because he wants to be the one to take it down.
That might be you're thinking about Lost Worlds,
yeah,
right? Yeah, because Muldoon dies in the first Jurassic Park.
Oh, I'm thinking of a different dude.
He doesn't die in the book. He actually survives in the book, and he's a giant drunken asshole, apparently. And he
gets
actually
eaten
survives
by the raptors later, right?
He fights a fucking T-Rex.
Yeah, he kills it in the book. Yeah, he tranquilizes it, and then it drowns in water afterwards.
Right.
Yeah,
well, that guy sounds badass.
Yeah, but he's apparently like a giant drunken asshole. And then, if you don't know, in the books, John Hammond dies.
Oh,
yeah. He dies, and he's also kind of an asshole and like is hella trying to market this park and everything, and like bypasses tons of security protocols to make the park work.
Yeah,
and things like that.
I can see that happening.
So in the book he dies, but in this one they make him a lot more like, I don't know, like sympathetic, empathetic.
He's more of a charismatic. Like, I want everyone to enjoy this because we actually fostered the powers of nature and we made something beautiful.
Yeah. So it's much different. So they changed some things around from the book versus the movie, of course.
Hammond dies in the book by getting eaten by those little tiny chicken dinosaurs.
Those are hilarious.
And he's like screaming like, "Oh, you're my creations, and you're killing me! I love it!" And he's like fucking stoked that he's
crazy.
Dying. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a much different, like the tone of the book is going to be a lot different than the tone of this movie.
Oh anyway. Yeah, totally.
But they introduce the raptors. They lower a steer down into there, and then it gets destroyed. And do they have to replace the harness like every single time?
Guess so.
They just get destroyed. A new harness every time.
Well, I like this scene because he talks about how smart they are. Where they started like testing weak spots on the fence by just running into it.
Yeah.
And like seeing like, oh, is it like all of the fence electrified? And like they were just testing all of the pieces. And then they had to like start feeding them differently because they would just pull the guys into it.
Yep.
So it's like they're establishing how dangerous that all these raptors are. And so when they're actually out chasing all the kids and shit, you're like, oh, I don't know how they're like surviving any of these scenes. Especially in the kitchen.
Yeah.
When they're like fucking hiding and there's like reflections all around. That was great. That's probably like one of my favorite scenes. That and like when they're running away from the T-Rex in the Jeep and Jeff Goldblum is just in the back like freaking out.
Yeah. After that, I believe they start taking the tour around the park.
Yeah.
In the cars, and they start realizing the cars have glitches in them.
Yep.
Things like that, so they're not exactly perfect. And even like the hackers
and
like,
John
Hammond are all
the system while they're
about
out.
It. Yeah.
There's no locks on the doors.
Yeah, so they just run out. Like, what the fuck?
There's no dinosaurs on this tour, by the way. And that's when Dr. Malcolm's like, "Hey, you're gonna have fucking dinosaurs on your dinosaur tour, right?"
Yeah, exactly.
And then John Hammond's just like, "I hate that guy."
I really hate that man. They also do a lot of I don't know, like the hacker girl. I always forget like the younger one's name. But she's like always claims that she's a vegetarian, and they make a lot of like vegetarian jokes.
They really do. He's like, "What's wrong, kid? You never had lamb chops?"
Yeah, you never had lamb chops,
which is funny because that lawyer gets ripped in half. Like,
yeah, which is great.
He's trying to hide in the bathroom, which is funny, and then the T-Rex just breaks through the top of it and then just eats him.
Yep. The infamous water scene with the dun. Dun.
Oh, yep. And it shows the water in the cup, like with little ripples happening.
Yeah, I love the how naive this child is, because they bring like the goat like pops up. She's like, "What are they gonna do to the goat?"
Yeah,
like you dumb fuck. Like, what do you think they're gonna do to the goat?
That's exactly why he's like, "What's wrong, kid?"
Like, what, don't you understand?
Yeah.
And then where's the goat? And then the leg like falls on top of the car.
She has a great scream at that moment.
Yeah,
where she just like looks up, straight up, and just screams wide-eyed, and then that's when the fucking T-Rex shows up.
Yeah,
and then just breaks through the top at one point.
Yeah, and it breaks through the cage because Dennis shuts down all of the systems, so he has access to the embryos.
No more electric fence.
So really, like, Dennis's part is really important to the movie because he's the reason why all these systems get shut down and why it's a problem.
Well, he wanted to originally shut everything down so that he could have access to the embryos. So he had to reset the whole system to give him like 5 to 10 minutes of that.
15-minute window to grab everything and get to the dock.
And so he leaves, and they don't know where the fuck he's at. So his computer is like locked down until Samuel Jackson's character figures it out. Yeah. And then they like reset the system.
And then there's the storm that's coming that hits the island as well. So it's literally just all of the worst possible things that could happen not this one particular moment.
On one night.
A storm.
This all happens in one night, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all one night.
A storm does happen in the book. It's kind of funny because in Jurassic Park 3, everything that wasn't in the book is put in Jurassic Park 3.
Oh, nice.
So you have like a Tyrannosaurus.
I was wondering why it was so weird like that.
You have a Tyrannosaurus going up the river and like chomping on a boat.
Yep.
In that book. And then there's also an aviary that they don't explain in that.
No.
But it's in the third movie.
Yeah. I don't know how the fuck you'd even build something like that, but okay.
Yeah, the book also has 2 Tyrannosauruses in it.
Yeah.
As well, there's like a bunch of other dinosaurs as well in the book. So obviously they have to scrap some of it for the movie.
I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying all the cool shit because you should read the book.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm probably gonna go.
There's a part like the end, near the end, before they even leave the island, they go into a fucking like underground burrow, and there's like an alien style scene where there's like millions of velociraptor eggs.
Oh shit!
And there's like velociraptors in there sleeping, and they're just like, well, shit.
That reminds me. What was it? Was it? Well, Aliens does it obviously, but there's another scene like that in Prometheus, where they walk into this area and they're like, "What the fuck is all this?" And it's like that black ooze coming out of it. Yeah, so that kind of shit. That sounds fucking terrifying to do something like that. It sounds claustrophobic too.
Yeah. Let's see.
Dennis fucks up because he takes a wrong turn and he crashes his vehicle after receiving the embryos.
He runs straight into the sign that tells him which way the dock is, and then he's trying to figure out which way it is and goes the wrong way.
And his Jeep gets stuck, and he's trying to get a crane on it, and that's when he's introduced to the Dilophosaurus.
That sprays fucking black ooze into his eyes, and he can't fucking do anything after that.
Hey, you want the stick? Here's the stick. Go get the fucking stick.
Yeah.
Dumbass.
So he basically stupid. Deserves like his fucking death in the moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, he is absolute trash.
And then the little thing full of embryos just gets buried in mud, and no one ever sees anything like that again. And then they like cut back to the doctor and the 2 kids who are like run off into the jungle to survive.
Yeah, from the T-Rex that attacks them.
The scene where the car falls into the tree and they have to make it down the tree before they fucking like the car lands on them is still terrifying.
Oh yeah, no, it's high.
I watched it, I was
really,
like, oh shit, like that still scares the fuck out of you watching it.
I don't know if either of you played the Jurassic Park Telltale game. It was like a point and click adventure as well as like.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the one you go to the arcade and you like get a gun.
You make choices in the game and they reflect the story.
Oh shit. It's like choose your own adventure kind of thing.
Yeah, somewhat. But it is, I believe, canon. There's a second group that goes in and tries to pick up the Barbasol can immediately after they figure out that he's dead.
Oh fuck.
And they like almost successfully get off the island, but then they get derailed. You find out that there's a roller coaster on the park, as well as an underwater fucking area where they have
that sounds so scary.
trilobites and plesiosauruses and mosasauruses and just everything.
I'm already terrified of open ocean. I can't imagine these giant like fucking creatures in there. Like
it's really subtle because they're just like, oh look, trilobites, how nice. And
but you don't actually know how big they are.
And then you like, they just see the giant fucking fish.
Yeah, go by.
Just, oh god. But like something cool, you should play the game. Telltale is a dead company right now.
Wait, so do you have to like go download this game? Is it on a website?
It's kind of old. It's older. I mean, you can play it on most like PS, like I believe 4, Xbox 360, Xbox One.
Okay, hell yeah.
PC obviously.
I'll go look for something.
Telltale
like
Games though is the one that made it. So
okay.
It's not one of those Zoo Tycoon kind of games. It's more of a click and do your own adventure kind of thing. And I guess it is canon somewhat.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about the one you know what I'm talking about. Where you go into the arcade and you sit in this like vehicle thingy,
yeah.
pull out the fucking guns, and it's like, oh yeah, you're gonna take out all these fucking raptors that are coming up to you,
fucking
and then it
Chuck
just
E. Cheese
it,
was
yeah
never the same,
exactly.
dude.
He was in fucking Chuck E. Cheese.
Was never the fucking same after that game.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. You would like stand in line waiting for that shit when like people have really had their birthdays and stuff there. I remember playing that fucking game, and then like I remember watching I think the second and the third one I think I watched in theaters. Now I think about it. And then I definitely went to go see Jurassic World in theaters. That was legit. Yeah. And then I liked it. I like the new ones. Even though they're like
Jurassic World. Cool.
The reason why is because I didn't go for any sort of plot. I went to watch giant fucking dinosaurs attack shit, and that's exactly what I got in that movie.
That's what you should expect with these movies.
Yeah, like they're not meant to be like but they did have some returning characters. Also, it was cool to see Chris Pratt as like this new badass character who like trains raptors. And,
pretty rad.
And they like end up helping him later on in the film. Like that was pretty cool. I liked watching that, and seeing him on the motorcycle going through with the raptors was still cool.
Yeah, it's because they also have this heads up display, and it's just
That's
like
so funny.
It's so sick because the entire time that Chris Pratt is like, he's their alpha.
Yeah.
And then they like find what kind of fucking dinosaur?
Well, it's like a hybrid that they've put together that has
the
raptor
Indominus
DNA.
Rex.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So they find the Indominus Rex, and they're like, "Hey, kill the dude," and he's like, "Oh, that's the alpha."
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're all
the
just
new guy.
It's just 4 screens looking directly at Chris Pratt.
Yeah,
because he's about to get fucked up. And Echo gets fucking, that dinosaur gets blown up by an RPG.
Yeah, yeah, it does. Holy shit!
Jurassic World's fun.
We'll have to talk about that another time because that one's fucking awesome. But what ends up, so they are pretty much like, we have to get like off the island at that point.
Yeah, well, they have to reset all the systems, all the security systems and everything.
To
so
get the fences back
you got
up.
Samuel Jackson's character decides that he has to go flip some breakers, and he leaves to go do that.
Nobody goes with him.
Because
screw the black guy in a movie. Sucks.
At the very least, he didn't die first.
But then, okay, here's the thing, though. The girl was like, you know what? He's been taking too long. I need to go.
Yeah.
And then John Hammond's like, it really should be me going. And why is that?
I love that moment. She's like, we'll talk about misogyny within high danger moments at another time. She has like a very specific line, and it's so great because she's like, wow, dude, like, are you trying to say that I can't do these things? Like, you're lame. And then goes and does it anyway. And this is also when that bald guy gets trapped by the raptors, and it's the very famous line from the movie where he's like, clever girl.
Yeah, and then gets eaten.
Yeah.
And then she goes off and is being led by microphone.
Yeah.
Essentially, or like a comm system.
It's all the switches.
Essentially, to find all the switches. And then when she's in there, she's being chased down by raptors, and then like the fun scene where the arm falls down.
She's relieved and then pulls it away, and it's just the arm.
Yeah, and it's just the arm, and she's like, "Oh no!" And then
Well,
and then
that's even when like the
that.
music cues in and is like really like intense, and she has to escape out of there and run all the way back. And so that's when they're able to reset everything. And then this is also when the doctor and the 2 kids are climbing that same fence. And they're like, yo, you need to jump right now or else you're going to get shocked. And the kid gets shocked off of it, which is fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, even but the doctor even like fucks with them though. He grabs it, and like starts fucking with them. I would say a point of development for him is when he starts like becoming more endearing towards the kids.
Like holds her hands and shit.
Yeah, he like actually like adopts the idea. And like sort of like I feel like there's a moment where when he drops the raptor claw, he drops the raptor claw that he has, the little fossil that he has, and I think that's like a representation of him like kind of abandoning his work and wanting to like embrace like parentdom, basically, kind of idea.
Yeah.
Sort of like that, sort of like he has to change his priorities now, sort of deal.
And then what occurs is that the raptors could fucking open doors.
Yeah, that's great.
That shit's fucked up.
That's when they're chasing the kids around in the kitchen.
Yeah, my favorite part is when you see this giant painting of like a beautiful scene, and there's a raptor like painted on there.
Yeah.
And it turns to the kids and they're eating food.
Yeah.
And then you just see like a raptor silhouette behind it just come back, and they're like, "Yo." Right.
She's eating Jell-O and shaking, which is really funny. So she's holding like the spoon with Jell-O and it's shaking in her hand.
It's fucking tense.
Yeah, that's when it gets really fucking intense. And then they're able to like at some point all pretty much get reunited.
Yeah,
in that building.
Post-kitchen scene.
Yeah, and then they're like in the main place where that giant skeleton of the T-Rex is there, and it's great because the actual T-Rex bursts in.
Yeah, I mean the scene where the raptors are chasing them and like hanging, and they're all like hanging onto separate parts of it, and it's all spinning around, and the raptors are leaping from one to another to try to get to them.
Yeah,
and then they get surrounded by the three, and then that's when like the T-Rex shows up
and grabs one of the smaller ones.
And then
this
they all
is the
start
scene I was
that.
talking about earlier from Gwangi. Where it was like, I'm pretty sure they copied that scene because it just shows up and eats one of them and then just goes fucking ham on killing all of the raptors.
Like, they didn't need to make a whole, like, 2-hour movie? They just needed 10 minutes because that's how much time the T-Rex is on fucking screen, man.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't very much time.
I'm just messing. It's such a good movie. But the T-Rex is on there for 10 minutes, and that 10 minutes that she's on there, fucking gold.
Oh, that's right. All she's.
Yeah, I was like, for a moment, I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's right. At first, I was like, how do you know? Oh, wait a minute, he's right. Yeah,
they said it.
That's canon. That's canon.
Yeah, exactly.
And then even like, I mean, the scene with it after it just thrashes all the raptors, and then the banner falls down with it roaring and everything, and then the whole like group of them get out, and then
what's great is that this same park is the park that's in Jurassic World. When they're looking around on the islands, they're like, oh, this is like leftover from the original park.
Yeah, which I like because it is good fan service. But
for sure.
I do understand like why you would leave that there, just like abandoned amusement park.
They were like, we're not gonna fucking do this, and then they came back
it.
and rebuilt it. Yeah, I mean, I think it wrapped up really well, and then they end the film kind of where they started it. They're back in the helicopter, like leaving the island,
getting ready to make a sequel.
And then right, the doctor says, "Professor, I've decided not to endorse your park."
Yep, that's a really good final line from him.
Yeah, it wraps up really well.
They also show pterodactyls like flying away in that scene too. So you're just like, oh, they're gonna like leave this fucking island.
Yeah, but they have the lysine deficiency within them, is what they say.
Yeah.
So like in their water, they put lysine inside that. And they could only live up to like a couple days without the dependency.
Yeah, so it won't get very far.
Yeah. But it is one of those overlooked quotes. It's only in one sentence.
Yeah, and it's important.
I mean, another I think a scene that we missed was the scene with the sick Triceratops.
Yeah. That's right. They get out to figure out what's going on with it. Yeah, he's like leaned up against it.
And this is when you find out that it's not Grant, it's his partner basically.
Yeah.
Where she starts like analyzing it and starts getting down on like basically acts like a med student almost when she's analyzing it. I need to see its droppings, and then
she finds out that the berries that are growing around it are not usually things they would eat, and so
they're poisonous.
Like, it was poisonous to them. And then she's like digging around like arm deep in some poop with and then Malcolm's like, that looks great.
No. Malcolm has like a scene that always made me laugh when I was younger, where he looks at the giant mound. He's like, no, that is a really big pile of shit. Yeah. And it's just, I don't know why, but that always made me laugh. Literal like joke. Every single time. It's just super silly.
Right. But I mean, that was pretty much all. Was there any other things that kind of stood out to you? Like, do you feel like it ended well, like to push it through into another sequel?
I mean, we've talked about Jurassic Park enough now, and I think everyone has seen this movie.
Yeah,
it's one of those ones that like most people have seen. But
this is like
pacing is great. It's got great writing in it. It's got great action. It's very entertaining the whole way through. It's got a little bit of philosophy in there. It's got everything that you want from a movie, basically. And the raptors are terrifying too.
Hell yeah.
It's a good warning for messing with genetics.
Always.
And just like advancements in technology.
And it's a lesson they never learn in the Jurassic Park movies, which is really funny.
Yeah, well, here's a big part. Do you think that humans should play God?
No, but it's always going to be cool to watch.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we're definitely never going to have a full understanding of what the fuck happened with that, but we're like on the verge of whatever Jurassic Park is like right now. Like they're definitely fucking with it.
Back fucking woolly mammoths and shit.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we should just, bring back a woolly mammoth. I was like,
I'm down.
I don't know, man. Like,
I mean, if it's going to be in fucking Russia.
Well, no, these are like research centers like in the middle of like metropolitan areas. So it's like, I don't know why they want to do stuff like that. Like maybe, yeah, but then if you do it in the middle of the fucking Arctic, you have shit like The Thing.
Yeah, true.
So it's just like, it won't work out well. Maybe make smaller ones. How about that?
The thing I will say about Jurassic Park as a whole, there are some people who've experienced Jurassic World and have lived. There are whole families that have had vacations at Jurassic World and lived. And that's what I'm thinking. Like, it's crazy because just on that day that we are introduced in that movie, that's just when it goes south. But there are whole families who have
been
had
there
a good
and left,
vacation and saw dinosaurs.
Yeah, because it had been running for a minute.
Yeah, Hammond's idea does come true, but like
that was funny because it was like a
long.
rich Indian dude who shows up to like take over the park and like funds it. And he's super nice. He's like, I want everybody to enjoy what's going on.
Dude, he
here.
gets such a fucking gnarly death too.
Yeah,
like
really
that
does.
pterodactyl just spears him in the fucking heart.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking gnarly. You should definitely go watch either one of those.
Yeah, just Jurassic Park and Into Jurassic World as a whole, they're just dumb, cheesy fun. And you stay for the dinosaurs, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like Jurassic Park should have just been a standalone film and would function fine off of itself. It's actually really good, and it surpasses its predecessors or its post-decessors. Yes, the movies its sequels. It's a lot better than all of the sequels that came after.
Oh
it,
yeah,
for sure.
totally.
But I gotta say, like, us being from San Diego, I will never forget fucking seeing a T-Rex fuck up San Diego.
That was pretty funny, yeah. That's true. You like know where everything is in that movie when you're watching it. You're just like, oh yeah, I know what street that is. So it was interesting. They also have like the giant 76 ball like rolling around in that movie. So it was interesting. It's a good one. But I think that's pretty much it. Any final thoughts before I let everybody go?
Go read the book.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Check out Jurassic Park.
Who wrote the book again?
Michael Crichton.
Okay.
And then go check out Jurassic Park the Game by Telltale. And that has extra lore and extra fucking
Go find a Chuck E.
shit.
Cheese and play that old game.
Yeah, do that too.
Oh, I have one more final thought. There is a silly blooper in the beginning of the movie where John Hammond shows up to the site, and then he's going to start pouring champagne for all of them. And then he says, oh, I know my way around the kitchen, and grabs a bunch of glasses when there are clearly wine glasses like right next to it that he just bypasses entirely. I just felt that was funny, and we're putting it in there.
Yeah. No, yeah. There's always weird moments like that where they include it. It's like how in like some of the Star Wars films, there's like obvious moments that were mistakes, but they just left it in. And they were just like, yeah, that works fine. So, but yeah, before I let everybody go, I just want to remind everybody we're super easy to find on all of the streaming services. So we're on all of the main ones. So we're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, as well as iHeartRadio and SoundCloud. And then if you're on Stitcher or CastBox, you can find us there as well. But please leave us a review on the Apple Podcast. It allows us to be seen more easily. And you can always contact us on all of the social medias as well. But thanks so much for coming out to talk about these two movies. I hope everyone has a good night.
I'm Mitch.
I'm Murr.
And I'm Jonathan. Thank you.